Hey guys, Cdrama Invasion here, and I cannot believe it's been a month already. Like literally, I feel like the last time I did a wrap-up video, it was like a week ago. September went by so quickly for me, and I feel like I thought that I didn't watch a lot, but I actually did watch like a couple, I think like 4 to 5 dramas and a couple of movies I want to talk about because they were great. But yeah, I started watching movies like just, I think mid-September when things got really hectic at work and stuff, and I had barely no time to catch up to any new dramas, so that's been like the thing for me now. But let's just jump on into it. First off, let's talk about the K-drama Big Mouth. I thought I was gonna do a first impressions on this, but once again, time slipped by and I was like literally at episode like 10 or something, so I was like, might as well just wait like a couple more weeks to do the whole thing, and then it ended up being the end of September, so I guess it worked out for me. Big Mouth stars Lee Jong-suk and Yoona from the girl group SNSD or Girls' Generation. And previously I had a kind of bad relationship with her dramas. I feel like she's great on variety shows and she's beautiful. I like her personality. I just didn't really vibe with her dramas, but she really did improve herself, and I think that's probably because she hangs out with a lot of people in the film industry, and I think that really challenged her in a way, and here it really comes through. Before, she kind of did a lot more like rom-com roles. Here she is definitely on like the more serious side of things, and I do buy into it, which is great. Lee Jong-suk is the standout actor here. I feel like he goes back and forth. In my book, I would love his more serious dramas, maybe with a hint of rom-com, since he's so great at that. But here, it's so good to see him in completely new territories for me, which is a mysterious and even morally gray character at times. From the get-go, I feel like you're already rooting for this couple. As a married couple, straight in, I really like their dynamic. You don't have to watch them fall in love or any of that. They already built this foundation and you really believe it. It feels like they have been together forever, and the undying loyalty they have for each other and willing to do the most for each other is just amazing. I love that he can kind of turn this beautiful smile of his, which is super charming in a bunch of other dramas like W, and then turn it into something insane and psychotic here. Very creepy. I feel like I can't talk about the plot lines too much, but basically you go into this knowing that he's basically a lawyer that's not too popular. He's not doing well financially, and his nickname is Big Mouth, which is somebody that's known for bluffing or promising you this and that, but never really following through or getting that results. One day he gets framed and he goes to prison. And it's such a good feeling to see like the underdog rise up. So he realizes to play the game to figure out who Big Mouth is and why he's in this situation. He got to pretend that he is this person. And it just goes on from there. I'm not really gonna spoil, but I do have to say, like, it was phenomenal. I really loved it when it was like the focus on who is this Big Mouth person. And then later on, they kind of shifted into a lot of power play. There were power play set up before, but I thought it was really rushed and messy. I was just so disappointed with the ending. I feel like a lot of people feel the same. There were just so many things that didn't make too much sense to me. I didn't think it was necessary for certain people to go out the way they did. It was just so unsatisfying, and it left me feeling like, wow, they really messed up here, because truly it was such a great drama. Everything from the acting, the writing, the pacing, I was so on board. And for sure, this could have been extended to 20 episodes because there were just so many characters and stuff that we found out about that got wrapped up like way too quickly. Both the leads were really smart. I love their chemistry. Like most people, I do want to see them in like another collaboration. They just really worked. Anyways, this was a mixed bag for me. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 just because I really enjoyed a lot of the first half. Next is a Netflix drama, Narco Saints, and I thought there were going to be so much more buzz about this, but unfortunately it kind of fell under the radar, but I absolutely enjoyed this one. It is more of character based, so a lot of like the crazy fights and stuff that you might expect going into a series with like gangs and spies and substances, etc. You're probably gonna think that, hey, there's probably gonna be action every single minute, but that's not really the case. But I think it worked in its favor because when the action, like the final showdown happened, it was just so thrilling and riveting. It was so great to watch. I thought the performances were absolutely great. I really fell in love with the male lead here. I thought he was so good, and I started watching a bunch of his mystery thriller films. So this is how it goes. It follows a guy who's just a normal middle-aged man. He has a couple of businesses, but business isn't doing good. He gets some news of a friend that's saying, hey, skate is so popular in Korea and it's a delicious like dish here and it's a delicacy. Like people are willing to pay good money for this dish. And word on the street is there's this small country not a lot of people know about that you can buy off of them for really cheap and maximize your profit here. So he packs up his bags, he goes there, and little do you know, the situation is kind of like Mexico there. Various factions, substances, etc., etc. And he gets approached by basically the CIA and said, hey, you're the only person who can have access to all these people, powerful people right now, so can you work with us? But honestly, they didn't give him a choice, and I really like that they kind of showed all these sides to these characters. Nobody is perfect. Everybody is truly morally gray here. Even the people that are so-called the cops, they are willing to risk you and your livelihood for the greater good. So the situation is very tense psychologically wise. I feel like you really feel for the main character. He's just this trapped person in between this huge power play and he just wants to get home safe. There's only 6 episodes. I highly recommend this one. Ha Jung-woo at the end trying to put on the performance of his life in the last final episodes made me bump the rating up to like a 9. The fights were so good. We have Chang Chen there too as the Chinatown leader guy, and he's just great. He's known in the Chinese cinema industry. So all these powerful people together were just perfection, and the English here was not cringy at all. Especially I remember watching Squid Game and countless of K-dramas and stuff where they try to make them look big and bad, but once they speak English, you can just tell like their line delivery was not good. Here it's a lot of English lines, but it was delivered well. These people did a great job, and the side actors too. Highly recommend this one. It was so addictive. Give it like 2 episodes and watch it on 1.5 speed just because there's a lot of talking and dialogue and character building, but it was definitely worth it. Next is Disappearing Child. This one is the one that I just recently finished. It has 12 episodes. It's a Chinese drama. It's available with English subs on Mango TV's channel on YouTube if you're interested. But this, I started off with high praises, and that's because the first 3 episodes I was quite intrigued and hooked. After I binged though recently, I would say that even if it's still interesting altogether, it wasn't as strong as my first impressions at all. I wish that they put more darker elements and a little bit more intense, thrilling moments. I feel like most of that was from the beginning because you kind of go in, it's like, hey, it could be this person, that person. But the middle felt quite slow. It was 12 episodes only, but it felt so much longer. They probably could have spent time giving everybody the same amount of screen time instead of focusing on a couple of characters. And I'm like, hey, these people, can we kind of fast forward a little bit because it wasn't that interesting. I feel like, yes, it all came down to everybody having something to do with the case, and this case was bigger than what we anticipated. But I feel like it would have benefited a little bit more on the thriller and more engaging aspect if they cut down the runtime maybe, or just the amount of episodes to maybe around like 8 episodes. Once again, I don't want to like go too into it. I feel like I'll spoil just too much. Is it still worth watching? If you're into this genre, you're looking for some type of mystery with like higher quality than a lot of other Chinese dramas that came out recently in like this year, last year, I would say yes for the mystery genre. But if not, like there's so many other like amazing K-dramas or older C-dramas to watch. I will give this a 7 out of 10 because I think the actors did such a good job and that they had the foundation. I didn't feel too connected to the main investigation team, and maybe that's why they should have gave us more of the cops or something on scene, because I felt like they were just very standard cookie cutter cops. At least they were doing their job and they weren't ignoring the victims. But either way, there was something lacking in the end, and I just wish I got more from this drama. Switching up gears, let's talk about The Killer is Romantic. So this is another, I think it's a Mango TV like web drama, and it has 3 episodes on YouTube. I think it's actually like 30 episodes or something, but they're like 8 minutes each, so they just compiled it into 3 episodes. So I put it on while I was eating breakfast, and I really got into it. This is basically Mr. and Mrs. Smith in ancient times. Although there isn't anything spectacular in terms of quality, this is a web drama with rookie actors and just kind of bad budgeting, very limited budgeting. I thought that they did what they could and they tried to make it work, and it was quite enjoyable. Chemistry-wise, it worked. I thought the comedy was probably the best part of this. So the story goes that 2 people get engaged and they're gonna get married, but they both are on secret organizations. Basically, one is an assassin and the other is the ancient times CIA. There's this cat and mouse type of game while they're on their missions, and then when they come back, they're actually in love with each other. So it's really funny to see them just try to rush and hide all these little details of their lives. And the female lead pretends to be demure and just like this elegant, sweet lady. So it was so funny to see her like slip up a lot of times. Like when she wants to drink alcohol, she would have the most elaborate setup and hidden places to get her drinks. And she has to pretend that she's really feminine and weak, and it's really funny because we get access to her dark thoughts, and she's like, oh my gosh, if I was anywhere else and if my husband wasn't here, you are dead meat. Makes for so much like comic situations. Yeah, check this one out. I had so much fun with it. I'll give it an 8, maybe 8.5. It's such a fun time, and the script writers really had fun with it, you can tell. The last series I want to talk about is Triage, the series. This is a Thai BL drama. I think it has around 12 or 13 episodes. This is one that I heard so much about when it was airing, but then it fell under the radar. So I just decided to watch the first episode. And it didn't really hook me at the start yet, but I really loved anything with time travel. And I think this one is done really well in just 13 episodes. They captured it. I would say that this is for fans of Reset if you added a little bit of romance, of course, BL. And the main lead was a doctor. This drama is surprisingly really slow burn, so it's very much storyline before you get any romance at all. I think like it takes till almost episode 9 or 10 for them to actually get together. But in the meantime, there is just so many mysteries, and you feel so frustrated, and you feel like you really want them to succeed, because it starts off with this ER doctor, and he's just wakes up, realizes that he's in a time loop, and to get out, he's supposed to save this one guy, which is totally a stranger to him. So of course he's like, fine, I guess, I'm a doctor anyways. He tries his best, and he goes down the rabbit hole. He does the most, and after failing literally 100 times, you start to unravel that it's not just a one-person problem. There's so many factors, and there's so many characters involved that you have to save those people too, or do this and that in order to change the whole outcome. Super interesting. The actors, I haven't seen them in anything before. The writing is not cringy. You're not going to have those cringy romance moments. There's just like a natural chemistry with them, and it really feels like an urgent, passionate romance. The romance really feels earned by the end of the 13 episodes, and I'm pretty shook about how much the story progressed from the first few episodes till the end. It felt so satisfying, even though there were so many thread points and little details. The drama really goes back full circle. The friendship stuff was nice too. I was not annoyed with any one character, which is good. I'm so happy for how far Thailand's BL industry has come, because they finally have like enough profit, enough viewership to experiment with more mature dramas, more mystery thrillers in their BLs, which is what I'm here for. Like, I'm kind of sick of those typical college romance dramas, and I really don't watch them anymore. So hoping that we'll see the same trend across Asia. Korea has been experimenting, and Japan as well, but I know the budget there is quite low and they kind of just stick to rom-coms. But yeah, I ended up giving this a 8.5, maybe 9 out of 10. Now onto the movies. Let's first talk about 2037. This is a 2022 Korean movie, and it has some of my favorites vibes, similar storylines to Miracle Cell. This is very much a heartwarming found family. It has dark topics, such as the criminal word that rhymes with tape. So trigger warning for that, but it wasn't explicit or anything. It was just really sad to see such an innocent young woman go through this, and she has to deal with it in prison. But of course, her prison mates were actually very sweet, and a lot of them came to her aid. It's one of those films that, like, if you really think about it, there's going to be like plot holes and you're like, yeah, this isn't that realistic when you're going into prison. Like, not everything is sunshine and rainbows, and not everybody will be your best friend. But I still thought that it really worked here. I can't really spoil what happened, but I'll give this an 8.5 out of 10. A film that I completely fell in love with was Exit, starring Yoona and Jo Jong-suk. It follows two people that are good at rock climbing. He low-key has a crush on her, and he and his entire family ends up going to this wedding banquet hall. During this celebration, they realize that there's this big smoke, like this fog, and a lot of people are just getting really sick and violent from it. It's not like really a zombie outbreak or anything, but you're definitely getting survival, almost like that apocalyptic vibe, with some thriller, some comedy, a lot of action. The chemistry here really works, and it was just so addictive, yet at the same time thrilling, because they're hanging off of buildings, basically doing parkour, but with a two-person team, just trying to get to safety. They're both really good people, and there's some incidences where they're about to get help, but then they realize there's some other people that needs help too. And there's a very limited capacity of these helicopters that come down that tries to help you. And of course, the gas is flowing upwards, so they have to go higher and higher to see them escape. And this was just so much fun. I was obsessed with it. I gave this a 9 or 9.5 out of 10. It was basically perfection, and if you're just looking for something on a rainy day or a night, I think this is perfect for that. It should be available on Netflix. Not sure if it's like worldwide Netflix or just certain countries. It's on Apple TV and Amazon Prime as well. I've watched many more movies, but haven't really gotten a chance to review them. I'll only like leave the highlights to my favorite movies. If you've seen Exit, let me know if there's any similar Asian movies that you recommend. As for teasers for what I'm currently watching, I am watching Hutong, but I think I'm gonna drop it. I'll talk more about it in a first impressions video. I want to start Strange Tales of Tang Dynasty and Mr. Bad. And for Korean dramas, I'm currently watching Blind and trying to catch up to Side Story of Fox Falot too. As usual, everything you need will be in the description box, and if you want to support the channel out even more, links to my Ko-fi coffee page is there as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video.